Welcome to the Wealth Building Blueprint for Women of Color. I am so excited for today's training. It's going to be a short training, but I promise you, it's going to be the best training you've attended in a very long time. I say that because I have had numerous people give me feedback thanking me when they have attended this training. Now, this is about how to build wealth, how to create financial security, financial independence, and financial freedom, not only for yourself, but also for your family. Money is a very touchy subject for so many people, but money is a subject I am so passionate about. I love money. Money loves me back. I love teaching about money. I love helping women make my money and grow my money. I've been doing this for nearly 4 years now, and it's been the best time of my life. Now, I want to ask you for something very, very important. I want you to turn off all distractions, put your phone on silence or turn it off if you can. And for the next 20 to 30 minutes, I want you to give me your full attention. This is for your own benefit. Okay. I am not making any money from doing this for you. For this workshop is completely free. This training is completely free. And my passion is helping women enter their next level. I'm the founder of the Next Level Women community, and we are just growing from strength to strength, helping women, especially women of color, enter their next level. And so maybe this is the first time you're meeting me and you are like, who's this girl? So I'm going to do a very brief introduction. You can go check me out on YouTube, the website, LinkedIn, every other place, just so you see I'm a legit human being, okay? So if we're just meeting for the first time, hello and welcome. My name is Joy Rowland. And I want to tell you why I'm so passionate about this. I grew up in northern Nigeria in a state called Sokoto, and my mom had to endure hardship, not just hardship, but she endured abuse from my dad for longer than necessary. So this is the earliest picture I could find. This is me on the furthermost left hand side of your screen. That's me. I am one of six children. My mother has six children, and it was tough. It was so difficult for my mom because she had to stay in an abusive relationship, not just emotionally abusive, but physically abusive. Every single week, at least three times, my dad would give her the beating of her life. And she didn't have any financial means. And so she stayed for such a long time. But finally, she was, I think, after 20 years of marriage, she was able to find a government job. And so she moved all of us to a different state. But all she could afford was a one-bedroom apartment. We lived in a slum. If you understand what slum means, like we would share one bathroom with over 100 other people, one kitchen with over 100 other people. That's the kind of life I lived with my mom. And I remember telling my mom, I want to move to the UK. I want to move so I can be able to feed my family. I want to go get a good job in the UK, study in the UK, and just change the trajectory of my family. And I remember my mom telling me, how are you going to move to the UK when we don't even speak English? I grew up speaking Hausa language, okay? So I tell her, I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to learn how to speak English, and I'm going to move to the UK. At the age of 25, I moved to the UK. I had worked 3 years straight saving, and I saved half of my tuition for Middlesex University in London. And I moved to the UK. But before I moved, I was going to be married. Okay. So at the age of 17, they were going to marry me off. And at this ceremony, I said, no, mom, I'm going to move to the UK. I actually ran away. I ran to a friend's house from this particular ceremony. And so that's how my journey began. I landed in the UK. And I studied business information technology at Middlesex University. And it was tough, obviously. I had to work at Marks and Spencer's during the day. So Marks and Spencer's is a large retail organization in the UK. I worked at Marks and Spencer's during the day as a retail assistant. and then as a security guard. So imagine me in my security uniform working at night. I'm smiling now, but I'm smiling from a place of joy. But it was tough, right? And I saved up all of that money. I paid off all of my tuition. And then I graduated top of my class, not one of the top. I was top of my class. And so I flew my mom all the way from my country to come see me graduate, to come see me be honored on stage as the top student. This, my friend, was the best day of my life for my mom to see her daughter be successful. And each time I tell this story, I get very emotional, not from a place of sadness, but from a place of joy, of gratitude to God for everything I've been able to accomplish. Now, all of that hunger for success, like when I look at my life now and my life before, I've done a complete 180. I do not look like what I've been through. And that's why I am so passionate about giving women options. When a woman rises, a whole generation rises. And so my quest for knowledge, for understanding, I wanted to understand, how does money work? How is it that we have wealthy people and then we have people who struggle? Like I wanted to understand, and that quest for understanding took me to the lifeguard school. I finished from the lifeguard school in the US. I'm now a certified life coach. Not only that, I went further to understand finances. I went through Dave Ramsey's master financial coach certification program. And so I'm here to help you create financial freedom. I'm here to teach you everything I know, especially the mindset piece. When I look at women of color, when I look at women in general, I now understand why women struggle. Because did you know, in as recently as the 1980s, in the US, in America, women could not apply for a credit card without the signature of a male relative, whether that be a husband or her son. A man had to co sign for a woman to be able to have a credit card in as recently as the 1980s in America. And so a lot of the struggle women go through right now is inherited. And until we start to understand all of this mindset and mind shifts, women are going to be stuck in that state for so long. And my mission is to change that. And so I worked in Dave Ramsey's institution as a financial peace university coordinator. I was teaching classes in his financial peace university. I'm not sure if you should know Dave Ramsey. And so that work I did gave me insights into how people struggle. So many people struggle. Did you know that research shows that only about 3% of Americans are saving on a consistent basis? 3%. And the data on how many people are in debt in America is staggering. And so, for this to shift, for we to be able to live in financial peace, financial security, and financial independence, there has to be a shift in our habits, in our mindsets, in our behavior, and in the strategies we implement to grow wealth. And that is why I have created a campaign to reach 1 million women of color by the age of 2030 with this financial literacy campaign. Because it is only through literacy and education are we going to be able to change the trajectory of our generation. Your generation and my generation depends on us. Your generation depends on you to change your financial trajectory. And so I'm going to be teaching you in just a very short period of time the things you need to implement right now to get you to where you want to go. So this training is built because for far too long, women of color, we've been working incredibly hard. In fact, right now, I know a few of my clients whose parents work 3 jobs, 3 different jobs just to be able to make ends meet. And then these hardworking people of color work for so hard, and then at the end of their lives, they have nothing to show for it because we were taught to survive. We were taught to work hard, to sacrifice, but nobody really taught us how to build wealth strategically. how to protect what we build, how to build legacy wealth. Now, I'm not talking about gambling in the stock market. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. But all of this will change today because today, by being in this class right now, you have chosen to change the financial trajectory of your family. Today, you're going to walk away with why traditional strategies fall short, especially for women of color. You're going to learn protected financial vehicles. These are vehicles that wealthy families have used for generations over generations that women of color have not actually been taught. You're also going to learn how to grow money with protection instead of gambling your money in the stock market. I've done that, okay? I've lost nearly $150,000 when I was gambling in Forex in London. And then finally, I'm going to teach you how to build generational wealth so that you leave a legacy for your family, you leave a legacy for your loved ones. The goal of this training is to educate you, is to empower you with knowledge so that you see what's possible for you and your family. But here's the reality many of us face. And let's be honest, like I said, it's not our fault, right? I already told you that in as recently as the 1980s, women didn't even have access to credit cards, let alone other financial instruments or other financial strategies. So that's the reality women face right now. And if our mothers never knew how money works, never knew how to build wealth, how do we expect them to teach us? Like, I do not fault my family, right? Because they had no idea how money works. So I want you to know that it is no fault of your parents, it is no fault of your grandma, your mom, your caregivers. They never had the understanding. And that is why you will get the understanding today, and then you get to pass it to your children, to your family, and to the generations to come. Many women are successful on paper. Okay, they have the income. I have had clients who were earning 250K. In fact, I had one woman who was earning over $500,000, but she was still financially insecure. She had no wealth, she had no savings, nothing. Now, how many times have you seen online or in the news celebrities sadly get diagnosed with cancer, and then you see them on GoFundMe pages to raise money? Can you imagine people who've earned all of these amounts of money, millions and millions of dollars, and then sadly, when a tragedy strikes, they defer to GoFundMe pages, which is really sad. To beg for money, to beg for people to contribute to their cancer care. That is really, really sad. So many of us, we've been taught to budget, save, survive paycheck to paycheck, but nobody really taught us wealth building strategy, how taxes work. That's a big deal. Wealthy people understand tax strategies. They're able to use those tax strategies to their advantages. They're also able to protect their assets. They use risk mitigation strategies to protect their assets. And so they are able to build legacy wealth, teach their children, and pass on that wealth to their children. Many families keep repeating that cycle, especially families of color, women of color, working hard, earning income, paying bills, and then starting the cycle over and over again. But that changes today. What real wealth really looks like? Well, I know you might have been exposed to all of those flashy things on Instagram, people in their Lamborghini, driving fast cars, but true wealth is not about the high life or the high income or the luxury items. It is about structure, protection, and legacy. In fact, the research I have done shows that many of those people who show wealth on Instagram, those things they are showing you are actually paid for with debt. So they've borrowed money to buy those things to show you those flashy lifestyle. True wealth is about creating a structure, protection, and legacy for your family. So I want you to start subconsciously defining for yourself what success is, what true wealth looks like. And so let's redefine wealth. Let's redefine wealth as having money that grows for you even when you're not working. That's true wealth. Because for many people, When they stop working, the income stops. So right now, I want you to think about your own personal circumstance. The most income you are generating every month right now, does it come from you trading your hours for money, or does it come from money growing for you, capital gains and dividends and royalties? I want you to ask yourself that question, because true wealth actually comes from money that is growing without you having to work, without you actively working day and night. Wealth is also about family protection. Is your family covered if you, for instance, fell ill or encountered unexpected hardship? Let's say you lost your job, God forbid. Is your family covered? Will your bills still be paid? Because here's the fact: when people lose their jobs, the bills don't stop coming. No. So you have to make sure your family is taken care of. In the unfortunate event when you cannot work, you have to take time off, etc. Also, true wealth comes from smart asset structure. So I already touched on capital appreciation. Okay. And then lasting legacy. Will your family inherit assets, or are they going to inherit liabilities? And here's the formula. The formula is protection plus growth plus legacy. That's what true wealth looks like. There are four key parts to the wealth building blueprint. Wealthy families don't just earn more, they operate from intentional systems designed to protect, grow, and transfer wealth across multiple generations. So these are the four parts. The first part is cash flow and allocation. Number two is protection. Three is growth. Four is legacy. What do I mean cash flow and allocation? Well, you need to know exactly how much is coming in, and you need to be intentional about what you assign to every dollar. Two is protection. I already mentioned that your income must be protected, because we cannot grow until we protect your income. Three is growth. I'm going to show you how to grow your money intelligently, making your money work harder for you. And then ultimately, you leave a legacy for your family. Okay, so how is financial security created? Well, financial security is created by the 10% three rules, three goals framework. So, what does that mean? Well, it means at the end of every month, you pay yourself automatically just 10%. Okay, so automatically you're going to set up a second account in your bank, and automatically, as soon as your paycheck hits your checking account, 10% directly goes into your savings account. Now, once you set that up, the question then becomes, what do you do with that? Because just taking the money and putting it under your mattress will not build your wealth. Okay, so once you have that set up, you need to understand the three rules of money, which is compounding, defining risk, so knowing how risk affects your money growth, and then third, taxes. And then the three goals are income protection, income replacement, and generational wealth. Now, for so many people in North America, they spend first and then save whatever is left. But this is the switch that happens. This is a mindset switch actually. Imagine if you saved first, so that you are not even seeing that money in your checking account. Automatically, every month that money goes out, and then you spend what's left instead of the other way around. Many people spend first, and then whatever pennies are left, they put that in a savings account. No, you need to prioritize saving. So that's the first thing you need to do, because many women of color, they prioritize spending first. So from today onwards, you're going to prioritize saving 10% of your net income. And so once you prioritize the 10%, it becomes the habit. So the first thing I'm going to help you do is to build a habit of saving first. That's the number one thing I help all of my clients do, right? Because for so long, our habit has been spending. It's going to take a mindset shift to shift from spending to saving first. And I'm going to help you implement the habits so that you embody the identity of someone who prioritizes wealth building. And then, like I said, after we've built the habits, I'm going to help you with the three wealth principles, which is compounding, protection, risk management, and then tax efficiency. I'm going to show you how to be efficient with your taxes because many people in America do not know that their 401k will be taxed after. So right now, maybe you have a 401k, but you didn't know that when it comes time when you get to retirement age 65 and you start drawing down from your 401k, you're going to start paying taxes. But here's the thing. You are paying taxes on the growth. Your money already grew inside of your 401k. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So the smart thing, this is what smart, wealthy people do. They pay taxes on the seed money instead of paying taxes on the growth. Okay. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay. You cannot afford to wait. Whether you are 35, 25, 65, 55, 45, I don't care how old you are. You cannot afford to wait. And this is what I mean. So imagine that the goal is to have $1 million by the age of 65. So let's assume, regardless of inflation, by the time you retire, let's assume you need $1 million to retire at the age of 65. Well, using a conservative rate of return of 8%, did you know if you were 25 years old, you need to start putting into your savings account $284 every single month? That's all you need to hit $1 million by the age of 65. Well, if you waited 10 years before saving this amount, look at the amount you're going to need $666 per month to get to the same goal of a million by the age of 65. Okay, so let's say you wait another 10 years and you don't start until you're 45 years old. Look at the amount you need to save per month. $1,686 every single month to hit the same goal of $1 million by the age of 25. Well, what if you waited until you're 55? Well, you need $5,429 per month to hit the same goal. Isn't that crazy? Look at the amount. Now, this 5,400 is the average salary that people bring on in America. This is the average salary. So imagine someone having to save this in order to retire. Compare that to if you started at the age of 25. This shows you the power of time. Now, I don't care if you're 40, if you're 50, or if you're 60. I want you to know that you can start today. You can start saving today and putting together this strategy regardless of your age. But I want to show you how powerful time is. Time is the greatest multiplier of money. Like, this is so profound. And if you have the time, I want you to pause this and do the calculation on your calculator to see exactly what this is illustrating. So powerful. There is no time to waste. You cannot afford to wait. Okay, so let's talk about risk. Because when you started saving 10% of your money, we need to grow your money, okay? But let's look at how risk affects money. If you put your money in a fixed account, like in a checking account, etc., well, your money is safe because it's in the bank, but your money isn't growing, right? That's fixed. So it's predictable, it's stable, but low returns. Like the returns right now in a savings account might be, I don't know, 0.9% if you're lucky right now, right? So it's safe in the bank, but there is risk, there's no risk involved, but you're not getting any money back. Okay, let's look at variable. In variable, of course, your money will grow. Well, not certainly, it goes up and down. There is no safety. So, see, if you invested in the stock market, for example, the stock market can go high and then low, right? So, this has a huge potential to cause high blood pressure especially if you are not used to the ups and downs of the market. Now, I've lost nearly $150,000 when I was trading Forex. So when I was in the UK, I was in the UK for 10 years. I was trading Forex and it would go up, down, up, down, up, down. I lost a lot of money. So for retirement and for building legacy wealth and for growing your wealth, I do not recommend gambling your money. But here's the third one that many people are not even aware of. It's called indexing. So indexing works in a way that it takes advantage of the growth of, for example, the S&P 500. It locks in the growth, but you never lose money. So there is a floor and you never lose money. And the next slide will actually explain this better. So I already told you about the banks. So the savings account, checking account, see these bonds in the bank. Well, it's safe, yes, but it really doesn't grow. Variable, your 401k, stocks, forex, crypto, there's up and down, high risk, high reward, right? But then there is indexed where the principal is protected. Like that's the crazy thing that people don't realize. Your principal, your money is protected, and then you get a percentage upside. So let's say the S&P 500 moves 100 points in one day. You lock in 75 points. So you lock in a percentage of that growth. But here's the thing, you never lose money. So you lock in the gains year in, year out. So this is the balance of safety and growth. You lock in gains and then you grow with confidence. Earlier, I talked about taxes and I told you that your 401k, and if you're in Canada, your RRSP will be taxed when you withdraw money. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Is it better to pay the taxes on the seed amount you put in your wealth account, or is it better to pay in the growth? Right? So earlier on, so for your checking account, savings account, CDs, etc., you are paying the tax right now. For your 401k, RSP, traditional IRA, you are paying later, right? Uncle Sam is going to take his money later. But how about tax advantage? For tax advantage, you pay money on the seed, you pay money on the seed, and the taxes you are paying on the seed is so small that when your money grows, you're not paying taxes on that growth. That's the smart way. Okay. So think about Roth IRA, Roth 401k. That's how the wealthy build wealth. So think about how taxes affect your money. Okay, let's break down the 5 key points. The strategy involves 1, contribution, 2, wealth accumulation, contribution stop at a certain age, and I'm going to show you how that works, but protection continues, and then you leave a legacy for your family. So I've just done an illustration to say, how about you decide, I'm going to start contributing $500 every single month, starting today, for example. And let's use a conservative rate of 8.9%. Now, I have seen clients' account do 12%, 15%, even 24%. However, for this illustration, I want to use a conservative interest rate. So we're going to use a conservative rate of 8.9%. And let's say you contribute just for the first 20 years. Did you know that with this, you end up with $5.81 million as total benefit? I'm going to let that sink in for a little bit. If you start contributing $500 per month at a conservative rate of 8.9%, and you contribute just for the first 20 years of your wealth account, you will end up with 5.81 million. And I did a slide to break this down exactly. So remember, I said we're going to start with $500 per month. $500 per month adds up to $6,000 per year. Okay, so there are 12 months in a year, $500 per month equals to $6,000. So your annual contribution is $6,000. Let's say you start at the age of 25. Can you see that the contribution stops after 20 years? See, at age 60, you're not paying any money. So after 20 years, at the age of 55, you stop contributing to your wealth account. But see what happens. Even though the cumulative growth is still 126,000, look at how the money is still growing. Now, remember I said you're contributing for the first 20 years, for example. Okay? Okay, so let's say you contribute for the first 20 years of the policy. Look at how the cash value keeps growing even when you stop contributing to this. So this is a wealth account. Okay. Now, this wealth account includes protection as well as growth. Okay. Now, even though you are contributing $6,000 every single year, which is $500 per month, a section of that goes to the cash value. So look at the cash value section, the section in green. That's the cash value using this conservative interest rate of 8.9%. But look at the death benefit. The death benefit for your kids, for your family, continues to grow, even though you stopped contributing after 20 years. You stop paying the contribution of $500 per month. Like when I first saw this, it really, really blew my mind. After contributing, after growing this at the age of 100, if God blesses our lives to live up to 100, look at how much cash value we have. Now, at the age of 65 or 70, you might decide to start drawing from this as income in retirement, right? So you can set up annuities to start drawing income from your cash value. But because this continues to grow without you contributing, look at how the death benefits keeps growing. So at the age of 100, you have 4.08 million in cash value and you have 1.7 in death benefit. Look at the total benefit, 5.81 million. And how much did you contribute? You only contributed $126,000 of your money. And your money has grown to 5.81 million. And out of that 5.81 million, your family gets 1.73 million when you pass. I know passing is not something we like to think of, but the one thing that is guaranteed is that we are all going to pass one day at the age of 90, 95, 100, 120. We're all going to pass. But the question is, are you going to leave a legacy for your family? This is the power of implementing a wealth strategy that both takes care of you right now, which is called living benefit. So you have living benefit while you are alive, while still leaving a legacy for your family. This is so powerful and mind-blowing. And so indexing is a strategy that many women of color have not been exposed to. But this is a strategy that wealthy families have been using for decades and even centuries because they understand how money works. They understand how taxes work, and they understand how to protect themselves from risk. Now, you may be wondering, for this wealth account, where can you get this wealth account? Well, I work with a number of financial institutions. So it depends on your personal circumstance and what you qualify for. Okay, so you're going to have to qualify for which of these growth accounts, wealth accounts that will be implemented for you. Now, in the US, the companies I work with are Fidelity Investments, Vanguard, Prudential, Nationwide, Transamerica. In Canada, Vari, BMO, RBC. And because I do not work for any of these institutions directly, I work in the best interest of my clients. So what that means is if you walked into a bank, for example, the financial advisor you speak to in the bank has a vested interest in selling you a product because they get paid a commission when you buy from them. So they might not necessarily work in your best interest. For me, I work in my client's best interest because I am not working directly with any of these financial institutions, which is so powerful. So depending on your personal circumstance, I'm going to help you craft which wealth account works best for you. Imagine the difference between living your family stress, debt, and fundraising campaigns versus leaving them with assets, security, and financial stability. When you have this plan in place, you're going to sleep better at night because now you know you have a plan for retirement and you have a plan for your family to leave a legacy for your family. Now, most people have never heard of this strategy. Why? Well, go back to your high school. Were you ever thought, even in university, were you ever thought how to build wealth using wealth building strategies like this? No. Many families never had this conversation because traditional financial education focuses on budgeting, credit score, right? They don't tell you the kind of strategies that takes advantage of the S&P 500 while still protecting you, right? Which is why I said I've lost so much money in stocks and forex. I wish someone had told me this when I started dabbling into forex back in the day. Families, especially wealthy families, focus on tax efficiency, they focus on protection, they focus on leveraging and multiplying wealth. Now, the goal isn't just to earn money, the goal is to keep your money and to grow your money. Remember, I talked about risk and I talked about taxes. Who does this strategy work for? It works for everyone: professionals, entrepreneurs, parents, caregivers, high income earners, legacy builders. If you are a woman, you need to implement this strategy. Now, you might be asking, oh, I don't think I have $500 per month. Well, if you do not have $500 per month, could you start with $100 per month? Could you start with $200 per month? You can start exactly where you are right now. Because, like I said earlier, you cannot afford to wait. Time is of the essence, especially when it comes to growing money. So you might be asking yourself, do I need to be wealthy already to do this? The answer is no. Okay, you do not need to be wealthy already to start saving $100 per month, to start saving $200 per month. And then you might be asking yourself, what if I already have life insurance? That's perfectly fine. Most people have basic protection. Most people do not have a properly structured wealth building strategy. What I just showed you is completely different. You might ask, can I access the money during my lifetime? The answer is yes. The accumulated cash value, on the screen, I show you the cash value. That is money you have access to. You have flexibility. You can turn it into annuities. Annuities is guaranteed income for life. So you can turn it into an annuity, the cash value, so that you start earning an income for that. And then you might ask, why start earlier rather than later? I already showed you, right? Time compounds money. The time to start is right now, today. So think about what changes. If you're able to sleep better at night, your stress decreases. If you know your wealth is growing intentionally. And when this wealth account is set up for you, I'm going to go back very quickly to that wealth account. When this is set up for you, you're going to be able to log in to see how your money is growing. You're going to log into your account and you're going to see how your money is growing. And when you have that set up, you're going to be able to sleep at night. So this is why this blueprint exists. I created this blueprint to help women of color start seeing the possibility. Not just seeing the possibility, but implementation. Implementation is key. I can bet you that this is not the first time you've heard someone say you need to save every single month. But there's a reason why you've been procrastinating. You've not consistently done it. But that changes today because I'm going to help you. And I'm going to help you completely free of charge. I'm going to help you implement this completely free of charge. You do not need to pay financial advisors. You do not need to pay management fees. I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to look at exactly what you have right now, and I'm going to help you structure and implement your own wealth account. I'm going to help you with the application process because, like I said, we need to see what you qualify for based off of your personal circumstance. I need to understand your financial goals. What are your current situations? How much do you owe in debt? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have credit card loans? Do you have student loans? I'm going to have a full picture of where you are at currently, and I'm going to build you a customized plan completely free of charge. This is unheard of, right? This is why I'm so passionate about helping women of color to change the trajectory of their lives so that you take charge. And then you can teach your family these strategies. When you leave a legacy for your family, you're going to teach them how money works. You're going to teach them how to build money and help and grow your money. So I'm going to drop the link. If you check below, you're going to see the link to book a free strategy call with me. I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to build you a personalized financial needs assessment and analysis, and then we're going to implement. Right? So even if it's $100 per month, we're going to start saving $100 per month automatically. You're going to create a different account with your bank, a savings account, and you're going to set auto deposit so that every single month you start saving. Maybe $100, maybe 200, maybe 500. Maybe you are in a situation to even save $1,000 per month. You move that automatically and it goes into your wealth account. Like I said, your wealth account gives you both protection and it gives you legacy wealth. And I know for a fact that many people who are 401k, their 401k wouldn't give them the life that they really, really want. The life of freedom, the life of choice when it's time to retire. So we're going to look at how much is in your 401k to start with, and then we're going to know for sure how much you need to put in your wealth account to give you the future you want and the future we all deserve, to be honest. So that poverty ends with you, so that money stress ends with you. No more will you pass this on to the next generation. I am really excited, and as you can tell, I am very passionate about this topic. Just use the link below, book a call on my calendar, and I cannot wait to meet you one-on-one to help you design this wealth plan and to help you so you can teach your family about how money works and how they can grow their wealth. I look forward to helping you. If you have any questions at all, you can find me on social media or you can respond to my email or just send me an email. Most likely you're already on my email list if you're seeing this. So just email me and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have and get you started. Thank you for spending time with me today.